Hi Billy, it looks like we may have to get that fencing done sooner than I thought, because as you can see I've lost a second one. I really don't want to end up having to cement that in only to change it and do something else. What do you think? Do we just give it a temporary support, or do we get it all sorted now sometime in the winter? Let me know. Good evening. As you saw, that was my message to my gardener. We had the fence come down during Storm Darragh, and it left me really upset because I just spent some money to repair the fence because of the previous storm, and then the fence went down again. So I finally decided that it was better to just replace the whole thing rather than spending more and more money for each post that went down. This was me when I finally decided to go out into the garden to have a look and see what work had been done. I had not had a chance to see it because by the time I come home, it's always dark. So this was on the Saturday when I first had a good look at it. I decided to go with concrete bases at the bottom of the fencing and concrete posts to ensure that I don't have any further problems with rotting posts. I was happy with the work, but the garden was left in a total and complete utter chaos. When I was looking at it, I was just feeling so exhausted. It didn't help that it had been grey all day until this time when I went outside, because the sun had come out for a little bit. All my bricks were all over the place. The pots had been moved haphazardly. I don't blame them really, because I hadn't cleared anything away before they came to do the work. So they cleared everything in order to do the work. So I know that I needed to put everything back and to tidy up. I already had a plan to declutter this space anyway. So having it looking like this and having all that work to do, although it was a little bit daunting and worrying, I know that it's not impossible. It's not something that's going to get done in one day, especially with the short days we have and the fact that I work all week with only the weekend to do any work. Some of this soil was actually from the previous storm. The pots fell over and I was just like, there's going to be another storm, so I didn't bother with clearing it. But I finally got round to doing it. I thought, since everything looks too overwhelming, let me start with something as simple as sweeping the steps and clearing that compost which had come out of the pot. I felt that if I do something as simple as that, it will clear and tidy one space and make me feel a little bit better about everything. And so this is where I started. Sweeping the steps was definitely the best way to start. It was something very simple and very achievable. And once I did that, having had a bit of a thought, I decided that the best way to do it was to tackle the whole project as I normally tackle big cleaning projects. Start in the left corner and work your way clockwise until the whole space is done. I didn't know how much I would get done on this day, but I would do my level best. The area I'm working in used to sit outside the garden, but it was part of our property. So when the new fence was put in, I asked the gardener to make sure that it was included on the inside in order that I could manage it a lot more easily than I was able to before. It had a lot of ivy within it, so I had to clear that as part of the process of sorting it out. Then I needed to tackle the next step, which is to line it up with the rest of the space on the area in order that I could blend them and make them look like they had always worked as they are now. It wasn't easy because the clay soil was really, really heavy and wet, and I have a bad shoulder at the moment, which makes all this type of work very difficult and very slow because I can't work with the vigorousness I normally work with. To give myself a break from shoveling clay soil, which was quite heavy and difficult on my arm, I decided to try cutting this post down so that I could actually use it in the back garden, because our neighbor on one side has managed to knock down the fence by constantly kicking a football against it. So I thought we could use this to repair the fence so that we have a good boundary. And I worry about my pots in the back because the fence, which is broken, keeps falling onto them, and I don't want everything toppling over and giving me even more work to do. Sewing through this was more of a challenge than I expected. So what I did is I actually stopped doing it in the end because I was like, no, this is killing my arm even more. So I decided to go back to shoveling soil and finishing off tidying that small corner where I was working. Now, I had ordered some weed membrane. I had hoped that it would be the fabric one, but unfortunately it wasn't. The description lied, but I needed the weed membrane because I wanted to get started and I didn't want to have to wait until I get the fabric one. So I'll use this one for now, and when it disintegrates later on, I will actually change it for the fabric one. But for now, I just needed to see that at least one small space was done, and so I just carried on with what I had.
Cicatrices que has curado, cicatrices, cicatrices. En la vida me he enchulado y como tú no hay nadie más. Tú un porro y los demás, nada más. Como pa' llenarte de Chanel, yeah. Un chorro de niña y tú una mujer, yeah. Aunque tan rica no es tu nivel, yeah. A la única que le quiero ser fiel. Como pa' llenarte de Chanel, yeah. Un chorro de niña y tú una mujer, yeah. Aunque tan rica no es tu nivel, yeah. A la única que le quiero ser fiel. Me gustan así de rica pa' que la vean. Sin dedos santo en la piel, pero esa tea yo la pongo a creer en algo. Mora a las 7 que salgo. Yo con Maretini, no sabe inglés, pero siempre dice roll witty. Mezcla de paisa con diosa de Santorini. Un beso tuyo más chimba que un fele. Ese es el feeling. Como pa' llenarte de Chanel, yeah. Un chorro de niña y tú una mujer, yeah. Aunque tan rica no es tu nivel, yeah. A la única que le quiero ser fiel. Como pa' llenarte de Chanel, yeah. Un chorro de niña y tú una mujer, yeah. Aunque tan rica no es tu nivel, yeah. A la única que le quiero ser fiel, yeah. La baby no es de motel, pero mal azote. Saco la la cámara y ella quiere que la enfoque. Quiere video conmigo para que se toque. Así es Ricky sin retoques. Contigo soy un bacán, yeah. Somos como el yin y el yang. Sin forzarlo se nota, yeah. Tú y tu curiosidad, yeah. Como pa' llenarte de Chanel, yeah. Un chorro de niña y tú una mujer, yeah. Aunque tan rica no a tu nivel, yeah. A la única que le quiero ser fiel. Como pa' llenarte de Chanel, yeah. Un chorro de niña y tú una mujer, yeah. Aunque tan rica no a tu nivel, yeah. A la única que le quiero ser, yeah. Quiero ser.